Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 9th of November 2022, and I see that the whole kind of lurgy narrative continues to collapse. An article I just read in the Daily Skeptic a bit earlier on today says that Sweden, that country that famously refused to lock down at all, has now been proven to have the lowest death rates throughout the whole of this lurgy period. So that has got to be the final nail in the coffin of the lurgy narrative, justification of lockdowns and all of the other ridiculous measures that were taken by so many countries around the world 2 or 3 years ago. So I think that's good news, because I think the more stories like this that come out, the more proof like this that comes out, the harder they're going to find it to justify to lock down ever again. So that was good news. And another article I saw, again, it's in the Daily Skeptic, one of their more recent stories. In the UK, apparently 185 people have died of the lurgy who were aged 20 or under, and out of those, only 20 of them didn't have any sort of long-term bad health issues. So basically what they're saying is, during the whole lurgy period, only 20 kids have died of the lurgy. And when you compare that to, well, how many people under 20 have died of a certain treatment, how many people have died under 20 of, again, lockdown measures. There's been quite a few people in that age group who have committed suicide, and quite a few people who would have died because of missed treatments and all of the usual, and diagnoses and all of the usual stuff. And that's before you even get on to how much these people's lives are going to be ruined, thanks to all the nonsense, all the lockdowns, etc. People who are under 20 are going to be looking at a vastly more impoverished life now, a poorer life, and I think they are going to have all kinds of issues as we move on into the future. And all of the lockdowns and the cost of lockdowns have cost the country so much money. That's money, of course, that these people under 20 are going to be paying well into their 60s, 70s, 80s, and their children and their grandchildren are going to be paying for it as well. So we knew, didn't we? We knew right from the start that lockdowns weren't a good idea, but it seems at long last some of the sort of other people out there are starting to realise it as well. And we just need to keep on pushing and reminding people of the mistakes that have been made. Lockdowns are a huge mistake. Muzzles are a huge mistake. And the imposition of those, again, is having terrible effects on the development of young children, because they've had all this time where they couldn't see facial expressions. So, things like that are going to affect young people for a very long time. And it's just such a mistake. Then you add on V mandates and all of the coercion. I saw a very interesting interview on GB News with Tonya Buxton, who is one of the co-founders of the Together organisation, and she was saying that, talking about this amnesty thing, which has been big news for the last week or so, hasn't it? And she says she's going to find it very difficult to forgive these people who were so nasty and are now calling for an amnesty. And as she so rightly said on this interview, had this been the 1600s, she would have been burnt at the stake, as we all would have been as well. So with that in mind, it is hard to forgive these people. I know we should forgive people, and I think in time I probably will, but it's the right thing to do. But it's a hard one, isn't it? And I know many people watching this will never forgive them for all of the harms that have been done, and I certainly can't blame anyone who thinks like that. So yeah, so much harm has been done, and so much ill effect has been done, so much damage to children's futures has been done, and forgiving these people for that is going to be hard to do. Like I kind of was trying to get to a bit earlier on in this video, we are just going to have to keep reminding people of how bad things were and keep a careful record, because a lot of these people are starting to erase history. Again, they said this on this Tonya Buxton interview. I believe Andrew Neil, that so-called journalist who was so horrible to the Unv, kind of more or less this time last year, apparently his tweet or whatever it was where he was saying those horrible things, he's quietly taken it down. No apology from the guy, or no, oh yeah, hold my hands up, I was wrong and I sincerely and deeply apologise for my ignorance. No, nothing like that. He's just sort of taken it down and hoping that people are just going to forget what he said. But these people are fools, aren't they? Because they don't seem to realise that we have it all. We've got all of the screenshots, we've got the videos, we've got videos that we've made highlighting their nonsense that we did at the time. We've got it all. We've got all the evidence. So you're never going to be able to just sweep it under the carpet and hope that history kind of forgets what you did. That's not going to happen. And people like me and people who watch me and many others in the freedom movement are going to make sure this issue is kind of kept alive and that people aren't allowed to forget about it. Because if we don't do that, it's just going to happen again. It might not happen for 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, maybe even longer than that, but it's going to happen again unless we kind of really highlight the mistakes that have been made, the terrible things that have been done, and to keep the memory of those things alive. And I, for one, will be doing that. So I've been going on long enough. I'll leave it for today. Back tomorrow. Tim from Fair Play Now. Thanks for watching.